As we approach the end of the year, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on my organization, my health, my overall happiness, because I think taking some time to focus on that can provide us a really solid foundation for the upcoming year. It's like a little opportunity just to assess where we are and where we'd like to be. For me, these past few months have been about rebuilding routines after having a whole bunch of significant life changes, and I've found that this process is instrumental in creating a framework for a healthier and more organized lifestyle. So I thought today we can embrace this reflective time, we can set some positive intentions and foster growth in multiple areas of our life. I want to spend today and tomorrow organizing myself for next year. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to take you through the key elements that I feel helped me have quite a successful year this year. I accomplished all of my goals by October. I've sort of just been cruising since then. So I'm going to talk you through all my systems and tools, and we're also going to be doing a little bit of stuff around the house today as well. But firstly, look at this wall that I finished the other day. Bridget and Alec helped me do that. And then you might have seen in my last video, Alec put these moldings on. And then on Saturday, I went through, I finished sanding it, I painted it, I painted the lower portion of the wall. And now I'm thinking I want some kind of artwork here. Yeah, I was thinking vertical frame on that wall, oil painting potentially. So if any of you have any artist suggestions, I would love for you to leave them in the comment section below, or even places that do like really nice prints and stuff like that. Okay, first up, let's talk about scheduling. If you've been around here long enough, you will know that I am a big fan of Google Calendar, just to basically run my life, keep everything organized. What I want to do before the new year is something that I've noticed is each week for the last few months, I've just been moving things around so much because I like to do time blocks. So I have some recurring time blocks that happen every single week because there's always some specific work tasks that I have to do every single week. But then what I'm finding is happening is I'm always moving them around two similar days, which is why it's important to move around your time block so you can see how long you're actually spending or what days you're actually doing things. So I want to go through, delete everything that is a recurring event out of my Google Calendar and just set it up in a way that I think is going to fit better. First thing that I'm going to do is write out a list of all the tasks that I have repeating that I'm going to delete. So gym is another one that I have on auto repeat, nutrition programming blocks, training programming blocks, client check-ins, client messages. In my end of year vacation block, I'm just going to delete everything out from here because I'm not going to need the work tasks in this week anyway. All right, so let's start with the gym blocks. I like to make sure I'm including a little bit of time to like walk to the gym, walk back from the gym. So I just set them like this. Always do one on my day off so I'm not taking up too much work time. Something I like to do is front load a lot of my client programming work. And as you can see, I've got like quite a few different calendars here. So I'm gonna put this in the coaching work one. So my clients do their check-ins on Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So then I like to make sure that I've got windows set up so I can get back to people on a Sunday, a Monday, or a Tuesday. I've tried setting up time windows and things before for things like content creation and that sort of thing, but I always end up deleting them because I feel like I can't force creativity. I just have to make things when I get an idea and not make things when I don't have ideas. And of course, each week I do have other work tasks that need to go in. So those things I just sort of program in the time as they come up. And then for things like meal prep and whatever else, I don't tend to need to block those off anymore. I just do them either like when I'm cooking another meal, like cooking my dinner or whatever. It's just become such an ingrained habit that it's not even something that I need to worry about. Okay, so I think you get the idea. This is just like the bare bones, but I'm gonna keep building this out. I'm gonna go back through some old weeks of calendar and just see how many hours I do actually need for some of these tasks. I'm gonna end up having to blur too much of the screen because it will have like client names and appointment places and things like that. quick little thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this portion of today's video. They're an all-in-one website builder and host. I've used them for like, oh my goodness, I don't know, like 9 years now to host my Eat, Run, Lift blog because they have these amazing templates that you can drag and drop and customize. You can easily change the branding to suit your needs. On top of that, they also have a 24/7 customer support service team and super in-depth blogging and analytics tools, so you know exactly what you need to create to reach your audience. If you want to give them a try, jump in and test out the free trial, and when you're ready to hit publish, you can use the URL that I put on the screen or in the description box for a discount off your first purchase. Sorry if it's a little bit noisy, it's a bit breezy up here, but if you follow me on Instagram, you might remember me putting up a post in my stories and I was like, hey, does anyone know what this plant is? Because there's a really big one of it near my building and it's growing up the concrete like crazy. And I was like, oh, I'd love to have something that I can just grow up the concrete, put in like some shallow, long planters. And this is it for anyone who is wondering and doesn't know what it is. I got a mix of variegated and non-variegated because there wasn't enough stock of the non-variegated. But at some point, maybe tomorrow, I'm gonna go out and see if I can find like some long pots because I just want to train this to go up this wall. This is where I do all my goal setting. This is the blank template that I keep. You can actually find it on my website as well if you want to download a copy. I'll leave a link in the description box too. I'm going to duplicate this blank version to start a new one for the first 6 months of 2024 because I like to do 6 months at a time rather than a whole year at a time. So we've got lots and lots of things that we can access in here. And I like to use this as a bit of a like task management, goal management board. I hope you don't mind, but like I find goal setting a little bit personal, especially when it comes to like financial goal setting and stuff like that. I don't like to talk about that stuff too much like publicly. I know other people will like share everything, but I don't know. I just like to have that little bit of a boundary for myself. So I thought I would show you the blank template before I sit down and fill this out myself. I'm gonna go through and fill out all of these again because I think it's really important to define like what are your values, what's important to you, how do you want your life to feel, what kind of person do you want to be, and just sort of like go over that for yourself again before you start setting goals, because otherwise it's so easy to set goals that are important to someone else or goals that you feel like should be important to you. So I think it's really important to just sit down and figure out, you know, what do I want to see change, what feels important to me, like where can I put my energy and my effort. So I've put together all these like prompts and questions and things that you can fill in. I've also incorporated a little checklist here that you can use. You can just fill that in. Current projects. So one of these projects is going to be for something that I'm launching for my clients. We've got a daily habits board. I'm going to go through and change some of these. Like my step target is higher now, but most of these other things are pretty similar. So I might keep some of those and you can change like all the cover photos and things like that. Then I'm going to set up my monthly planner for January and February just because I like to have the next one already set out and ready to go, even if I don't fill in all the goals. And then I also figure out in the next 30 days like what is important to me. And if you want to, you can break it down into a weekly plan just to take any goal that feels a little bit too big and break it down into tiny parts, because I think that's how you can keep moving. So I've got personal life and I've got business focus. This could just be work focus, it could be study focus, whatever you want that to be, you can just retitle that. What I personally like to do is when I have a project, I'll put the due date on them too, because when we have the due date, that actually does show up in our calendar, which we have down here. So yeah, I just break my year into halves. So I typically like to work on a 6-month pattern at a time, and then I can see any important tasks start to pop up here. Anything that's due today will pop up on here as well. And then you can copy this board. Obviously this is my blank template, so it's not copied, but what you can do is copy and sync this board. So I copy this to my homepage and to my work homepage, so I can see if there's any important things that are going to sync up to the tasks and the goals that I have, because I feel like sometimes we have these goals but we don't have a structured plan in place for how we want to get to them. So I know for me there's going to be a savings goal, I know there's going to be a project goal of like a new thing that I want to launch for my clients. There's a couple of other things that I have in mind, but I just want to go through and fill out all of these again before I actually set the goal. So I'm going to duplicate this template now and go ahead and do that. We have bedside tables.
Finally.
And a bed frame, so I can stop sleeping on the floor like a frat boy.
Even more finally.
Ew, it looks like poo brown on the camera.
Like that.
Like the other paint color. Okay, that looks nicer. He
on
wasn't
video?
used to the height, no. Did the height scare you, buddy? What I usually like to do with my meals is I don't really change them unless my macros change, because I've gotten so used to just eating the same sort of thing on repeat. I personally think that this should come in with organizing as well. Like if you don't want it to, of course, you don't have to. For me, I find it's really important to plan what you're going to be eating, or at least what sort of groceries you need, because that's just going to help keep you organized with your meals. And I find with nutrition, the biggest trick to consistency is being organized with it, like knowing what you're going to have, how much of it, and then making sure that you've got all the ingredients that you need. If you've seen my meal planning workshop, which you can find on my website, or I'll leave it linked in the description box, I talk you through 2 different ways of meal planning. I talk through a 2-day method, and then I talk through a week-long method. I personally prefer to do a 2-day method because I just find that that's easier. It reduces the decision fatigue. I don't have to keep track of so many different ingredients all the time, because I find for me, that's what would undo me, is when I have to keep track of too many things. Plus, I have a really tiny fridge here, so I can't have like tons and tons of variety because I literally cannot fit all the ingredients in my fridge. So let me show you. I just have my 2 days. I write them out, all the meals. So if you want to learn how to do the simplified meals as well, you can check out that workshop, because I think it's like 45 minutes or an hour long. And obviously in a YouTube video, I don't have that much time to go through all of it, but that's got my whole process for how to like break it down in a simple way and pick a certain amount of proteins, not have to have your grocery shop like blow out too big or make the things too complicated. And then also like if you're picking different recipes, how to make substitutions and make it a little bit easier for yourself. So yeah, essentially what I like to do is to write that out as a list, pop it on my fridge, and then when my macros change, I'll go through and change that. So I use my nutrition software to plan it out. But if you count macros, you can of course do the exact same thing in like MyFitnessPal or LifeSum or any of that sort of thing. So yeah, I find planning things out, sticking it on the fridge is just an easy way to have a visual reminder. Of course, you've got to work with whatever method works best for you. So if you want to have it like on your phone, or if you want to plan things out in an app or whatever. But because I just sort of rinse and repeat the same sort of meals, I just have mine on the fridge. To make life even easier, I've adopted the habit of meal prepping a few days in advance. I mean, I've been meal prepping a long time. I first started making videos showing some of my meal prep in like 2015. So if you guys have been around here for a long time, you'll know it's a habit I've had for quite a while.
Now, don't get me wrong, I do go through phases where sometimes I'll only meal prep a few bits and pieces, or sometimes I'll only do, a protein and some starchy carbs. But at the moment, I'm meal prepping almost every single meal that I eat because it just makes the day so much easier and it saves me so much time. Also, just ensures that I'm making nutritious choices, and I think honestly it's a game changer for anyone who has a busy schedule. Now, also in Notion, I built myself a training board. Anyone who is one of my clients, you already have your schedule in the app, so you don't even need to stress about this. I set this out so that I can see like what training sessions I'm doing on what day, and then when I go to the gym I can actually record my results in there. So I'm following this training program for 16 weeks. It's useful to even just use a notebook or something like that, but essentially if you're doing progressive overload, you just want to make sure that you can keep track of how much you're lifting so you can see if you're improving. So the way that I built it as a calendar view, and then I saved all the templates of different things that I have to do. And then when I changed to the new training split in I believe it's end of January or start of February, I'll build the new ones in as templates. You can go here, add new template, and then that way when I'm loading in the workouts, I can just select from them there.
Okay, I hope that gives you a little more insight into my systems, my tools. I'm so proud of the systems and how they worked last year. So I hope if you want to, you implement them and you see the same level of success that I did with your goals. If there's anything that you want me to cover in more depth, I can of course include that in like upcoming vlogs and things like that. So just let me know, leave me a little comment, anything that you're stuck with, that you're feeling resistance with, or that maybe I didn't explain in as much depth as you might need. Catch you in the next upload.